Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glory Glory My Night podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Quinn, and joining me today is a new guest. It's Sofia from Sofia's Football Talk. Welcome to the show, Sofia.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And what we're going to do is preview Bournemouth against Manchester United, which is, of course, United's last away game of the season. And I'm sure every United fan is aware that our away form is atrocious. It would be nice just to win an away game for a change.
Yeah.
Um, just looking at Bournemouth's form, they've 3 wins out of the last 6 matches. However, they've lost their last two, including a loss at home to Chelsea.
Yes.
Uh, which was a big surprise given Chelsea's form this season.
Hmm.
Um, so it looks like a game that United could potentially win away from home for a change.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm still not 100% confident. I would like to get the top four sewn up as quickly as possible.
Yes.
I don't. I don't want to be in a situation where we have to win those two home games and to guarantee our spot because I have to admit I'm a little bit worried about Mitrovic and Fulham gunning for revenge in that final game. So I would like to get things wrapped up before then.
Yeah.
So how confident are you feeling about the game on Saturday, Sevilla?
I mean, I'm not like super confident, but because you did mention that Kyle with our away record not being the best. That's something that definitely needs to be worked at for next season, whatnot. But since you did mention, okay, they had some defeats and whatnot recently, such as Chelsea and whatnot, I think we can get it over the line. We have played them before, not just in the league, but also um, what should I say, in the cups and whatnot. But I think that might have been at home, regardless. Though, either way, I fancy us to do it, to get the job done. And I hope, like you also mentioned, that we can get the win and then wrap it up against Chelsea, because I don't want it to be the last game of the day against Fulham and them guys trying to get revenge. Newcastle got revenge against us because of what we did in the cup. Brighton did the
Mhm.
same thing, so I don't need that to happen. So I think we can get it over the line, but it won't be easy. It won't be easy, but I believe we can do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's very important that it doesn't happen again because
Yeah.
if we drop out, it means Liverpool will take our place, and that's the worst possible thing that could happen. It would ruin our whole season. Um, I fancy Liverpool to get maximum points from the remaining two games. I think
Okay.
they're at home to Villa, and I think they have a very winnable away game in their last game. So uh, I think we need to get those 6 points on the board and not relying on other teams to do us a favour.
Agreed.
Um, Ryan joins us. Hello to you, Ryan. And he says the away form is a massive concern. However, I think we should be able to win this game, but take nothing for granted. Um, yeah, we'll get on to that in a second. Uh, he thinks that if anyone will drop out is Newcastle. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, Newcastle's game with Brighton is going to be pivotal tonight,
Yep.
and Brighton are still within an outside chance of finishing in the top four themselves.
Hmm.
So that one will be interesting, but we just
Yep.
need to do our own jobs. Um, I am reasonably confident. One of the reasons is that Bournemouth are safe. You, and as the old cliche goes, they're on the beach. Um, having said that, United coming to your home ground tends to be every club's biggest game of the season.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they're really up for this one, despite the fact
Yeah.
that they're safe. I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you either, Sophia.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me either. Often the teams just want to show up against Man United. They'll be like, you know what? It's Man United. Let's play a game. Why not just go at these guys? But it's like you said, they're they are safe from relegation, so that's a good thing. If it was the fact that they were still in a relegation battle, I would be a lot more concerned and think, ooh, this. Then we could be in a bit of a hot war and whatnot. But I, I I don't know. I just have a feeling we can do it. But then again, I said the same thing against Brighton. No, not Brighton. I did mention that. or think that we can maybe potentially get a draw. West Ham, I was really certain that hey, we'll get a win, but no, we lost. So I don't know, but the guys got to do it. It's just make sure win this game, Chelsea game, and then it's done. Then top four is doesn't matter how it goes for Liverpool and who else. It's technically it's done. So I don't know. I just hope, but we will see.
It will be so satisfying winning these games, knowing that all the Liverpool fans will be glued to the screen, desperate for us to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of adds a wee bit of extra, you know, happiness for us, knowing that they will be raging at us winning.
Yeah,
Uh, Obviously, they want us to lose every game anyway, but it's has extra importance for Liverpool, obviously.
yeah.
Um, so before we talk about United team news, I'm going to talk about Bournemouth's potential threats on the day.
Okay.
So just looking at some of the stats, obviously their three biggest players are obviously Billing, Solanke, and Tavernier.
Hmm.
Um, Billing has 7 goals and 1 assist. Solanke has 7 goals and 7 assists,
Wow.
and Tavernier has 5 goals and 4 assists. So if
Mm.
all those, they're obviously not consistent looking at the
Yeah.
stats, but on their day they can produce it. If all of them produce it on the day, then it will be a tough game for United. What I'm expecting really from Bournemouth, given that the shackles are off, they're probably just going to come at us and go on the front foot, and because they've got nothing to lose. That might suit us, might leave some gaps at the back for us to exploit,
Hmm.
especially our PC players.
Yeah.
Um, do you reckon those will be the biggest threats from Bournemouth on the day, or is there anyone else that you think might provide one?
Oh, those are
Provide.
actually the ones that I think as well.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially like Billing and Solanke, those two. Because I remember when they, what was it? Remember after the 7-0 defeat we had to Liverpool, and then Liverpool played Bournemouth the like almost a week after. I remember watching the game and whatnot then, and they were on it. Liverpool was having so much confidence and whatnot, but no, Bournemouth they showed up. But then again, of course, it was still relegation battle and whatnot. But I think nullified those three in particular that you mentioned, and then I think we would have the game more so in our favor for sure. So those are the ones that we got to look up for. I don't really have anybody else in mind other than uh, the guys you mentioned, actually. So yeah,
Um, yeah, the Liverpool game you mentioned there, Mo Salah famously missed a penalty in that game,
yeah,
and it was Philip Billing who scored for Bournemouth.
hmm,
But of course, that was back in March when they had something to play for.
yeah.
Uh, I'm just hoping that they are a bit more relaxed in this game and a bit more switched off and are not drop a wee bit of 5% in terms of their running,
Yeah.
and we can exploit that. And we obviously have something to play for, and they don't. But like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if they come straight out of the traps because they're playing against Man United. I
Hmm.
think Lerma is a pretty good player as well on his day.
Yeah.
Um,
Irma, yeah.
but those four players are probably are the main threats.
Hmm.
They do concede a lot of goals, so you like to think our attacking players could exploit that. I don't think Stevens, Senesi, Kelly, Smith. These guys aren't. They did keep a clean sheet against Liverpool. To be fair, who scored 7 past us, but they have conceded many goals in other games. So
Mm.
that brings me on to our attack. I don't know if Rashford's going to make it back for this game or not. We'll have to wait for Ten Hag's press conference to confirm that. But one thing that we are sure about is that Garnacho is back and back amongst the goals, and that certainly gives me more confidence as well because
Same.
he is such an amazing talent.
Oh, I love that kid.
He only got 10 minutes in the last game there against Wolves, and he managed to score in that time. So for me, he has to start. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that for sure. And I don't want to rush Rashford back. Like let's not do that. I know that he was back in I mean you will touch into the team news, but he was back in training and whatnot. So I don't want to rush him back. I think we have already done that before. And I know that well obviously I mean probably we felt like we had to do it. But I don't know, I rather start the Ganacho and have Rashford just sit this one out. If you want to be on the bench, okay. But let's not rush you back. Ganacho, he, like you said, those 10 minutes, he made those 10 minutes count, and that's all it is. And I think he would be deserving of to get a start. Why not? Why not? Very lethal player. Love it.
Yeah, I'd really love to see him get more minutes. The fans were calling for him from about half time onwards on Saturday, and had to wait to about the 80th minute to see him.
Yeah,
I think he deserves a start after that cameo. And even earlier in the season, before he got injured, I wanted to see him play more minutes. He started like now and again, and he always came off the bench. I would like to see him start more games. Yeah, and like you say, Rashford, I would protect him for the cup final if possible. He's going to be pivotal to that, and so is Garnacho, by the way. Um,
yeah.
so, uh, like you say, I don't want to rush Rashford back and risk him getting injured before the cup final.
Hmm.
Um, you would like to think we could beat Bournemouth and Chelsea without Rashford, and we were able to do that against Wolves. So yeah, I would probably go with Martial again in this game, unless Rashford's 100% fit. Definitely not Veghorst, if I'm being honest with you. As
Yeah,
as much
no,
as he tries, he doesn't really bring anything in terms of quality. So
I
I'd
agree.
probably go with Anthony, Martial, and Garnacho across the front. Would you go along with
I would agree with that 100%. Yep, I think that's
that?
the best fit.
I've talked about this with every guest on the show, and every single one of them has agreed with me. Are you frustrated with the lack of minutes that Palestri has been getting this season?
Oh yes, yes. I would like when he's been coming on and whatnot. Few cameos he's had, he's actually been pretty good. And then like you don't see him for a long time, and I don't know. I've kind of come out with this and like I don't know. Maybe it could be because he's just trying to kind of steady the ship and whatnot more so this season. The next season he'll give more of the youngsters an opportunity. So what I'm thinking could be the case. That's the only thing that I'm banking on, just because with him at Ajax and whatnot, you saw him giving a lot more chances and whatnot to the youngsters and whatnot. Like the Ajax team that went to the semifinal for whatnot 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I should say. They hey, they were a pretty young team, so he doesn't shy away from giving young players a fair shout and a fair chance, such as Canacho. So I'm thinking Pleshri, hopefully he'll get his opportunity, and there's probably a reason for it. But of course, us fans, we can still be frustrated and be like, "Yo," but it would be nice to see him though. But I still would be like, "Okay, there has to be a reason." So I'm trying to be a bit patient with that aspect as well. So yeah,
The only thing is, if he doesn't get a chance this season, I'm struggling to see when it's going to happen, because Amad Diallo is going to be coming back into the squad. Ten Hag has spoken highly of him. He's going to be invited to the FA Cup final with the squad.
yeah,
We know Anthony is already the starter in that position. So if Diallo
yep,
comes into to be competition for Anthony, where does Palestri fit in? He doesn't. So maybe his career might lie away from Old Trafford. Unfortunately, not
yeah.
everybody can make it. That's just.
That's a good point. Not everybody can make it. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he'll go back on a loan and see. I don't know.
Yeah, I
We'll
think he
see.
will be loaned. But he would probably have to be pretty sensational on that loan to come back and be a starter for Manchester United.
Yeah,
Because he's going to have to displace Anthony and Diallo, I think. Um,
exactly.
so I'm going to get through some of the comments here.
Yeah.
Bart and Donny here don't think that Garnacho should start the game. They prefer him coming off the bench. Bart says 90% of his goals come from the bench, and Donny says he should be brought on after Rashford comes on for fresh legs later on in the game. I can see their point,
See that.
but for me, given that Rashford is not in the form that he was earlier in the season, struggling with
Mm-hmm.
injury and fitness. I think
Yeah.
Garnacho is arguably our biggest attacking threat at the moment. So I would like to see him start.
And,
But I totally get what they're saying.
oh yeah, yeah.
Um, Ryan here is given his starting 11: De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Love Shaw, Casemiro, Ericsson, Anthony, Bruno, Garnacho, and Martial. Uh, yeah, I would probably go along with that. Let
S-
me see.
Yeah, I think that would probably be mine as well. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Just by the way, the cup final, I just want to touch on that. I was just talking about that earlier on Twitter in
Yeah.
terms of what I want to see and what I expect to see in terms
Hmm.
of the starting 11 in the cup final. Now, what Ten Hag did against Manchester City when we won at Old Trafford in January was he took out Anthony and he brought in Fred to play an extra midfielder. I could see him doing that again. And I'd love to see him do that. We need to pack the midfield, to cut off the spaces for Man City's, elite creative players. And then I would play Garnacho and Rashford as the attacking players. And what we do, if we can win the ball back in our own half, then play those long balls over the top to Garnacho and Rashford to run onto. So
Yeah, and they just run and just use your pace. Yeah, I think they just gotta have a proper game plan. You can do something similar like they did in that game, and just follow it. And it's a derby, and it's also we're in contention. We can win a trophy. While we're at it, we can also make sure that our neighbors will not you know basically take away, or not take away, but also you know do something that we did years back, right? Our greatest thing in history, right? The treble. So they have to be up for it. So follow the game plan and be up for it. I want to see some fight. I know that we're underdogs in the game. A lot of people think that we will be completely slapped up, but I think it's the one-off game. You have to be up for it. And I will be quite. If we do lose, at least lose with dignity. That I need to see that you tried. It can't be us just completely giving up even before the ball has been kicked. That's when I'll be like, okay, a lot of you guys maybe aren't just cut out for this. You know, that's what I think.
yeah, if we lose 3-2, it'll still be heartbreaking. But I can take that if they show a bit of pride. But if we get slapped again and concede 6 goals, I'm going to be furious. To be honest with
Same.
you, um,
Yes.
but it is crucial. No matter what happens here, we need to win. Whether the performance is good or not, it's all about the result in this game because, like you say, we don't want Man City emulating our treble from '99. We're the only currently, for a couple of weeks at least, we're the only English club to have achieved that. Um, Back in 1977, Liverpool had the chance to win the treble, but they lost the FA Cup final to Manchester United. So hopefully we can repeat that on this occasion.
Yes. Exactly. Come on now. I almost feel like it's written. I just have a feeling there has to be, a first Manchester derby in like a FA Cup final, and we can make sure they don't get. No, it has to be written. There's something here. I don't know. Just have a feeling, but we'll see.
Yeah, that would be another great thing about getting this top four wrapped up early. That Fulham game, which I'm going to, by the way, um,
Cool.
we can rest a few players, give a few
Yes.
French players a start,
Yeah.
and have them have a nice rest for about 10 days ahead of the cup final, 9 or 10 days. So that'd be another reason to get this wrapped up early.
I
Even
agree.
though I don't really want to go to a game where we're feeling a bunch of reserves, but
Yeah.
I
You
think
kind of
United.
almost have to sacrifice that and be like, win against Bournemouth, win against Chelsea, top four secured, and rotate as much as you can for that Fulham game because it won't be enough time to, you know, it'll be just what, a week or so for the before we have the final. You have to kind of take that risk. I think.
Yeah, let's get it done early. Just come to comment here again. Bart says comparing United's youngsters like Menu, McNeil, Iqbal, and Ahmad with the likes of Delict and Co at Ajax is unfair, as Ajax are one of the best run clubs in the world. Yeah, that's true. I don't think any of those United players you mentioned are ready for the first team at the moment.
Oh, definitely not.
For a start, I think McNeil maybe in the long run, maybe Menu as well, but they don't have the physique to be a first teamer at United. Well, Ahmad though, yeah, he was sensational for Sunderland, who
Mm.
unfortunately didn't make it to the playoff final. So he'll be coming back to United now, but he's had a lot of experience now on loan. And at Sunderland, that's probably one of the most successful loanees ever at United, given how he
Yeah.
performed. So I'd say he'd be the exception there of the names he's mentioned. I would say he's
Yes.
ready for the first team. The rest of the
Agree.
players either won't make it at United or they're just not physically ready.
Y-
I think McNeil's a very talented striker, but he's just a boy really at the
mhm.
moment.
Yeah, they need to
You,
bulk up a bit, like, and they still, the development. They're still not, they're still young, so they'll get bigger and whatnot. So we just gotta wait, I think, and be smart with their development.
yeah, for sure. Daily Tack says likes of Anthony bottled it by not scoring, losing in crucial games, and Ten Hag did not bring him on as he's always on the bench. Yeah, it is fair to say that Anthony did miss some crucial chances. I think definitely against Brighton. I think maybe against Wolves as well. I know the keeper was very good for Wolves, but Anthony's not been hitting the target a lot recently.
Hmm.
Oh no, I'm not just hitting. Well, he's hitting the target, but it's been saved, and some of them are being off target as well.
Yeah.
I think he's 8 goals this season, and was it 3 assists or something? I think he really needs to double that. I think next season. Would you
Yes.
agree?
100%. I mean, I see that there's definitely a big potential with Anthony, but he has to work on his decision making. You know, sometimes he just goes for like, okay, let me score instead of like passing it. Like, remember when he actually gave a nice pass to Anthony Martial in that Wolves game to make it 1-0? And I was like, whoa, that happened. If he could just do more of that, he'll get more of his stats up for sure. You just have to work on that. When he does that, I think there's a player in there, and he can be an asset for sure.
Yeah, he used his right foot, which is extremely rare. But I have noticed that he is doing it more now. Him and Ten Hag must have been working on that on training because
Probably.
he's been criticised massively for being too left-footed. But I am seeing him now crossing the ball with his right foot,
Yep.
and also shooting to the near post rather than constantly trying to curl it into the far corner.
Mhm.
Um, he had a shot to the near post against Wolves that was brilliantly saved by the goalkeeper. So he needs to do more of those two things, and then we will see a better player.
Mhm.
Um, I think he will link up, like for example, if Frimpong comes in, who's an extremely offensive right back, he will link up really well with an offensive right back like that, who's going to go on the overlap on the outside.
Yes.
Um, that would be mouth-watering, to say the least. Um, Now, just a lot of comments coming in here. Ryan says, when these 115 charges for FFP going to be resolved? When are they going to be resolved? Say you have cheated their way to success by spending away above their means, but guess what? They will get away with it because it's City. Yeah, 100% expect a slap in the wrist here from Man City.
Yeah.
115 charges is enormous. I did read just about half an hour ago, the Times wrote an article saying that City's defence is that the Premier League's barrister is an Arsenal fan. You see, when that is your
Oh,
defence,
yeah, I
that is
heard
an
about
admittance of
that.
guilt. I mean, how guilty are they that they're trying to get off on a technicality rather than trying to prove their innocence? Um, yeah,
Yeah, and
their
also
successes.
it will
Go ahead.
probably take a long time as well, like a few years to, because it's a big case to resolve that or whatnot. So I don't think we're going to be hearing any verdict anytime soon. So we'll just have to wait.
Yeah, the verdict on the Ivan Tony case took a long, long time before we got news on
Yes.
that. So I expect the City case will be even longer.
Hmm.
And then if they're like deducted points or uh, if or something outrageous like thrown out of the Premier League, not outrageous, but something you know dramatic like that, they'll
Yep.
probably appeal it. So the process will go on and on and on. Um, yeah, I don't expect a massive punishment here, but I'd really love to see it. I'm not in favor of stripping them of titles retrospectively. I would rather like they start next season on -30 or something like that. That'd be more
Hmm.
beneficial to us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Because I feel like you can't take away those moments, regardless. Like, what's the point of taking away the titles? It still happened, you know. So I don't really think that will be beneficial. But something in the you know in minds of a big point deduction would maybe be significant. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't really want the title from 2012, for example. It's
yeah, I'm
because
not.
you wouldn't. It's hard to celebrate that.
Yeah.
That being said, if the Aguero moment is taken away from them, I'd be chuckling for years on end.
Oh, if we could go back and just fix that, that would be funny. But yeah, that's still out there, people. I still hear it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if it no longer counts, then that would be hilarious. Um,
that is a good point.
Jordan Heyman, LFC, says, "Hey, sister Sofia."
Hello, Jordan.
He's obviously a Liverpool fan. We'll not hold that against him tonight. I'm sure he's hoping for a Bournemouth victory on Saturday. Absolutely no doubt about that. Bart says he's replying to Rand. He says, "Oh yes, they aren't the best in history. The best is PSG side 1981. Um, then if Pep's current side, if they win the treble, then our side won the league and UEFA Champions League under Klopp. Yeah, there's been a lot of debate already, even on MNF on Sky Sports. Neville and Carragher, they're picking their combined 11 from the current City team and the United 99 team. I think Carragher picked six City players, I think,
Yeah,
five United players. But Gary Neville picked an entire 11 of United players, including
I
himself.
love that. I love that. It's like, nope.
I listen, I love the fact he picked himself over Kyle Walker. Have to admire that.
Hey.
Some players can leave themselves out because they don't want to come across as arrogant, but he picked
Aaron
himself for
Neville's like, nope. I want a Champions League. Nope, put me
uh, Earlier on, we were saying we didn't want Mitrovic to get revenge on us, but Donny here says Mitrovic will get sent off anyway, so it doesn't matter.
in.
How hilarious would that be if he gets sent off again against United?
That would not that I would laugh in that. If that happened, no, no, no. The guy, what he did in that, was it FA Cup? That was mad. That was mad.
Bart here says we need to get five more players and six out. I think there'll be more than six departing because the squad is quite bulky.
Yeah,
Um, and he says we need them on the plane to the US. I think we all know that's not going to happen. Maybe one or two of them, but we never
that
get our
sucks
business
because
done early.
yeah, because I agree with Bart. Like that's what I would want, but if that will be the case, that's a whole nother thing. But for once, it would be nice to just have all the business just wrapped up in the players to go and have them ready, you know, and then be in the preseason and whatnot in the US so that you can give them more time. I don't want it to be like, okay, we suddenly get a player in after preseason and whatnot, and then first game of the season we're out of we don't have like one of our newest signings. It doesn't make sense. You need time to for it to relationships to be formed and to work on yeah the tactics and whatnot on training. Time is important, so we will see, but the whole the ownership thing is dragging it out and whatnot, so yeah, difficult.
Even if the ownership situation is resolved tomorrow, even if they've picked uh, you know, NEOS or Qatar to sell to tomorrow, um, they're not going to get the keys to Old Trafford until early July. So there's going to be no one to sign the checks until July probably. So
Hmm.
we're going to see players, and already we're seeing this with Alexis McAllister. He's going to go to Liverpool, even though United are interested in him. So we're going to lose out on transfer targets because of this ownership situation. But that's just been symbolic of the Glazer regime for the last 18 years. Don't care about anything that happens on the pitch. It's all about how much money they can make,
Hmm.
and that's the way it's going to continue to the bitter end. Um, yeah, so this ownership situation is really going to throw a spanner in the works in terms of our transfer window. But we used to frustrating transfer windows, so don't be surprised if we sign no one until July and don't sign our two most important signings until the last week of the window. That's just typical the way things go with this club.
It really is so typical. That is something that we need to work on with, because we can't. That it's so it's not serious. Sometimes the way we run our club, we are a big club. Act like a big club. So hopefully stuff like that will be a lot more clear for the years to come and whatnot. Because I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest.
I think we all are. Hopefully,
Mm,
under the new ownership, we will behave like a big club.
I hope so.
But there's an uncertainty that comes with that as well. We don't know. Usually what new owners do is sack the whole board and they get rid of even the doctors, the physios, the kit man, the team manager as well. So I'd be worried for Ten Hag that if we started off next season slowly, that a new owner could say, I want to bring in my own man here. We've seen Todd Bowley do it
Mm,
this season, and most owners like to bring in their own man. But I think that'd be crazy in my opinion because
yeah.
I don't see anyone out there who we can get who's better than Ten Hag. So hopefully the new man sticks with him. I don't care who else he changes. Obviously, I don't mind if he gets rid of the board. Richard
Yeah.
Arnold and
I think a
the
lot of
John.
them are not good enough. John
Yeah,
Murto and whatnot.
yeah.
They're not good enough.
No, they're not. Do you know what? If the favourite, Jim Radcliffe and Ineos, do take over, the best thing they could do. Some of the fans are not happy with them because the Glazers are probably going to have a 20% stake if he takes over for at least a couple of years anyway. The
Hmm.
best thing he could do to get the fans on side would be to appoint Edwin van der Sar as the CEO to run the club. Would not be brilliant?
That would be brilliant. I've been screaming to get Van der Sar for a long time. So hey, if you want to try to get us on board, if not that I would want necessarily the whole surgery and whatnot, but if you want to get us on your side, then you gotta make things right from the side. We can start to talk then. Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, and there could be an opportunity there because the Ajax fans, what happens in football. You're only as good as your last game, and Ajax haven't had a good season at all, and they've turned on Van der Sar, from what I'm hearing.
Hmm.
So, despite all the success that he's had as the CEO of the club, you know, you're only as good as your last game. So,
Yep.
um, he might think that now is the time to, step aside, and he has made no secret of the fact that he would like to work at Old Trafford again someday. So
Yes,
that seems like a sensible thing to do. Bring him in.
I think so
Um,
too.
a few more comments here. Um, Bart says Mitrovic could be a good number 9 for United, and he would be a cheaper option. So him, Hoyland, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, or Ferguson would be great for United as they will need a goalkeeper, two centre midfielders, and right centre back. Yeah, Mitrovic, I think he's 28. I think he's a really good Premier League striker, but I don't think he's a top four striker, and that's my opinion anyway.
I agree.
Um, but I do agree with the youngsters he's mentioned here, the young lad from Atalanta and the young lad from Brighton. I would 100% bring them in as the understudies to the senior signing that
Hmm.
we hopefully bring in. And Danny here says it's fair to recognise that although Anthony's decision making needs to improve, his overall game has improved since he has come in. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Um, Still young and a lot of potential to keep improving. Yeah,
100%.
I don't think we've seen the best Anthony yet.
No.
Now I think that's still to come in the next
Yeah.
couple of seasons. Ryan says this is Anthony's first season. It's not always easy to settle in quickly. He needs time, but he has definitely had a good season. But we know he needs to make more improvements, and I believe that will come. Um, Bart says Anthony should bulk up as well. Watch players like Robin and Salah. He's been overplayed as Jaden hasn't made the right wing his own. Also, a big nine and a centre midfielder is needed to unleash Sancho. Just on that, Sancho's since he came back from his period out, for a few months there, he's been indifferent, to say the least. He's had his moments, but there have been games where he hasn't produced enough quality either.
Mhm.
Are you still remaining patient with Jadon Sancho, Sevilla?
I feel like my patience sometimes might be slightly running out, but then again, I'm willing to give him one more season. I'm willing because I believe that there's still a player there. But sometimes I'd be thinking, does it necessarily fit the way we want to play and whatnot? I don't know. I just miss more of those old school, wingers that were a lot more like pacey, direct, and whatnot, which we do see with Garnacho and Rashford as well. But I just I don't know. Like I said, I'll give him a season. I'll I'll wait and give him a season, one more. But yeah, it's difficult because I really wanted to work with him. I really want him to shine, but I don't know if it's confident wise, what it is. I can't pinpoint it, but it's difficult. I feel for him.
Yeah, I think everybody would love to see him succeed because he seems like a lovely fella and he's had his difficulties off the pitch. So it'd be great if he did succeed. But to succeed at United, you need to have a monster mentality. And it's questionable as to whether he has that or not. But let's see. I think there's a division in the camp in terms of United fans. 50% of the fans want to see him sold now or loaned out, and 50% want to give him another season. I think both opinions are valid. So I'd be happy with either of those.
Same.
I'm probably leaning towards giving him one more season. Um, Bart mentions that Joshua Kimmich, he's heard that he's on the
Mm.
market for 60 million. What I'll say about that is if Bayern Munich want to sell one of the midfielders, they're probably injury prone or over the hill because they don't they tend to give away players who have either got like Hargreaves and Schweinsteiger. We all remember those, and we thought we were getting great signings there, and both of them hardly played any games for United because of their problems with their knees and so on. So
Mm.
I'd be worried if Bayern Munich want to sell us another midfielder.
Good point. But
um,
he'll be interesting. Well, we can keep some parts of the list. We'll see. We'll see. Interesting player. I wouldn't mind. But 60 though, if he's like really injury prone, we'll see.
I'm not sure that. Yeah, I don't think that he is injury prone. But
Because I don't think either.
um, but usually when Bayern Munich want to get rid of someone,
Yeah.
there's something not right. But let's see. I think if we're going to sign a midfielder from Bayern Munich, the likelihood is that it'll be Ryan Gravenberch because he's worked with Ten Hag before. So
Yes.
that wouldn't shock me at all if he
Yeah.
came in. Um, Bart here says that Sancho thrives in systems when he has a big nine ahead of him, like Holland, and runners behind. He excels in transition. He can be United's Mahrez as a touch is silky. As a touch is silky. Watch the goal versus Liverpool. Yeah.
No, I remember.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and Ten Hag has talked about him playing as a number 10. The only problem is we're kind of stacked in that position. And we're
Mm,
starting to get stacked in wide areas as well. The position where we're weak is at number 9. So if Sancho stays on, he's going to have to be exceptional in his appearances to start as a regular because, we've got Garnacho and Rashford on the left, and then we've got Anthony and probably Amad Diallo on the right. So Sancho is every opportunity that he gets, he's going to have to be absolutely brilliant if he's going to get a place in the regular 11. But let's see if he can do it. Um, Jordan asked, "Is that a Juventus kit?" Yes, yes, it is. Kneeling your colours to the mast tonight. Then, well, I can't blame you for wanting Sevilla to lose because I'm sick of the sight of Sevilla. To be honest with you.
yep.
Bart says if City's titles get revoked, then we could get 4 more titles, thus taking their total to 23. Yeah, like I said, I don't really want those titles in retrospect. I'm happy just with a City points deduction next season.
Yeah.
Um, Donny says City are unable to appeal sanctions to CAS after being charged by Premier League with breaking financial rules. Man City will not be able to appeal to the Court of Arbitration Sport. Interesting.
Mm,
Mm, hopefully they can't. Bart says, to be fair, De Bruyne, Holland, Walker would be remembered as all-time greats in the Premier League in 10 years' time. Yeah, probably. I have to admit that De Bruyne is a fabulous footballer. If he wasn't playing
100%.
for Man City, I'd be happy to admit that he's one of my favorite players to watch. But
I see that. Yeah. They're great. They're amazing.
like back in the day, I had to admit that Dennis Bergkamp was an unbelievable footballer as well, even though he played for our rivals. Sometimes you just have to be honest.
Yeah, indeed.
Um, Bart says one thing that United need to learn from Klopp is how effectively Liverpool conduct their business. Well, it's not just Klopp, obviously, is involved in that. Their director of football, Michael Edwards, is a very, very efficient man, a shrewd operator, and I think he's been replaced by his deputy this summer. But I expect their business to just be as smooth. One thing United need to learn from Klopp, but yeah, it's like I read that Ten Hag's budget is 100 million, so add another 80 on top of that from sales, hopefully. Yeah, if we sell Martial, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Elanga, Palestri, well,
Donny.
Jones is going to be released. Yeah, Donny van der Beek. Yeah, you could pro- possibly see us raising 80 million. Yeah, because I think now we're in trouble of not meeting the FFP requirements, even though that's optional for Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want us to be breaking financial rules because I don't want us to be hypocrites. Danny says the fans will not allow Ten Hag's departure. Yeah, absolutely right. Bayern, not that the Chelsea owners give a toss what the fans think. They just go through managers like confetti.
Yep.
Um, Bart says Bayern act like a big club, absolutely, and usually make their first summer sign in January. That is true. That's true. Yeah, the second one in March and so on. Yeah, he's not wrong about that.
Yeah.
Um, Ming joins us as well.
Hello,
Uh,
Ming.
um, Bart here mentions Rennie Mullenstein, Van der Sar, Michael Edwards. Yeah, because Michael Edwards is now a free agent, so United could snap him up. We saw a great job. That would
Imagine
be
if we did. That
yeah,
would be funny.
that would be as funny as the time we signed Michael Owen and it winded up all the Liverpool fans. Probably even better because Michael Edwards would probably do more for us than what Michael Owen did.
Yep.
Um, yeah, Mullenstein, Monistar, Michael Edwards, under 20 as the under 23 coach, CEO, and chief of recruitment. Yeah, that'd be an ideal world, but ideal things don't happen at United, certainly not under the
No.
Glazers anyway. Bart says Ajax lost 11 players, their video analyst, their coach, and their second coach. Besides that, their biggest rival, Feyenoord, won the league. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise they had a poor season because we took everything from them in the summer,
Yeah. Sorry,
and
Alex. Hey,
yeah,
sorry. We apologize.
and Baron as well, obviously. Mickey says, would you be interested in Madison if Leicester goes down, which you probably will go down now? Uh, Probably max 50, 60 million, he says. He's a player that I rate highly. Whether we need him or not is a different question. And he's definitely injury prone. Um, we need a centre midfielder. I think. I don't think we need a number 10. I mean, we've got
Mm,
Bruno, Ericsson, and Sancho can all play as number 10. So I'm not sure he would be a priority. But if he was available really cheap, if you're going down to the 20, 30 million mark, then I definitely consider it. What do you think, Sophia?
yeah. Oh, I would love to have Madison. I think, you know, he would add something to the squad. I think he would be, you did mention injury prone for sure. He is, but if it's for the right price, then I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I would be all for potentially getting a Madison, but we do need a couple of midfielders in, at least two. Another DM, a central midfielder, at least is what I think when it comes to the midfield department.
Yeah, I would like to see uh, an alternative to Casemiro when he gets suspended, uh,
Yes.
on the ball carrier like De Jong. That would be my
Oof.
ideal
Yes.
players. Bart here mentions Unana from Everton, Lavia from Southampton, and Noto from Leeds. Yeah, if those players went down to the championship, they would be interesting options. Certainly, would provide good squad options for United next season.
Yep.
Um, there's always there's a lot of quality players are going to end up in the championship this season for some reason. So there
Mm,
will be opportunities there for other clubs to pick them off.
yes.
Oh yes, yes, that's a good point that Rand brings up there. I saw a link earlier, linking Saido Mane to United, who of course is falling out with everybody at Bayern Munich. I don't think so. Um, I don't
Yeah,
think he would be that disloyal to the Liverpool fans,
I
and even if
can't
he
see
was,
it.
I think he's 31 now, isn't he? And we do not need a winger. So I see that as a non-starter. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Sadio Mane would be credible, but I don't see it happening. That would be, yo, that would be insane if he would be like, yo, sorry Liverpool, but I'm gonna go to the enemy. No, I don't think that.
No, I don't see that happening. Football United TV says Sofia, nice, yes, Sofia, nice to see you, my fellow DJ.
Pick up.
Um, Bart says buying from relegated clubs is an art, as they do contain some stinkers and some rough diamonds. So United should think about it. Maybe getting Valencia's Georgian goalkeeper prodigy is an option. Yeah, obviously, Anderlecht's goalkeeping prodigy has been linked with United because he's Dutch. So that wouldn't shock me if we did that deal. Yeah, remember the last time I remember us signing a relegated player was David Ballion way back in 2004, and that didn't really work out. The only thing I remember him doing is scoring in Wayne Rooney's debut where he got the hat trick. I think Ballion scored in that game against Fenerbahce as well. But apart from that, I don't think he did very much. But
Hmm.
I think they're higher quality players being relegated this season, so there's business to be done there.
Yep.
Um, Bart says Enzo Lefea is an absolute bargain as he currently plays for Lorient. Him and Branko uh, van den Boomen are good shouts, as is Maxwell Coquette. I'm not pronouncing these names correctly. I tell you what, Bart's knowledge of European football is out of this world,
Bart
isn't it?
knows
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah, he knows a lot. Yeah.
yeah. Listen,
Pick up Bart.
he's showing me up here. And he mentions Leslie. Yeah, I can't pronounce that.
Chukwu.
Is Regan Conte. He is a teen and can learn from Casemiro. Is Bart a scout by any chance?
Or just, maybe we should hire you as our football scout potentially. We might need you, Bart. We'll talk later,
Yeah,
Bart.
yeah, definitely. I'd love to get Bart on the show to tell me about all the latest prospects in European football.
Yeah.
Um, he says Klopp bought well I can't I know who the
Uh,
player he's talking about, but I
yeah,
struggled.
Van Aldum.
Ronaldo, yeah, from Newcastle and Robertson from Hull. So watch out. Um, yeah, Liverpool do some shrewd business, as do Brighton. Brighton are the best run club,
Yes,
probably
they are.
certainly in the Premier League. They're probably going to be selling the likes of McAllister and Moisesedo this summer, but don't be surprised if they replace them with players who are just as good that we've never heard
Yeah, yeah,
of.
yeah. They probably already have backup in mind right now. And as soon as they, you know, Casado and McAllister leaves, you'll see the replacement.
I
They,
think they've already signed three players. That's how efficient they are.
yeah,
One of them is from Dortmund, and one from Watford, I think. No doubt it'll turn out to be James. No matter what manager or player they bring in, they're just sensational.
yeah,
And
because
they
they have
always,
like a system. They have like I think even before, what was it? Before Graham Potter before he left, they already had the Zerbi in mind as the new manager. They are several steps ahead. That's what we need to do. They run like they are Man United, like what Man United should be running as. It's you got to pick it up to them. Really
the
good.
best recruitment we could do is sign all of Brighton's scouts
Yeah,
on the director of football.
take
Then
all of them.
we would be making £4 million signings left, right, and centre, and they'd all turn out to be gems.
Yes.
And the Glazers would stay with that kind of business. So maybe not. Um, Bart says thanks for the compliment, Kyle. I like watching French league to improve my fluency. Yeah, I
That's
suppose
cool.
that's as good a reason as any to watch French football.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to ask you, Sophia, for your match prediction for United against Bournemouth. What do you think the score is going to be?
I think hmm, 2-1. 2-1.
2-1 to United, I assume.
Yes, 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 yes. 2-1 to United. Not Bournemouth, the United. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm going to be bold and go with 3-0 to Manchester United. Yeah, and Donny agrees with me
Oh,
here.
is this
It's
true?
like an echo chamber here again in this podcast.
Okay.
Um, yeah, something that's just if Rashford is available and Garnacho is now back, it gives me that wee bit more confidence that we can score goals. Um, yeah, but I wouldn't be
We,
surprised if we concede. But yeah, I'm going to go for United to finally win an away game and win their last away game of the season. So
that
at
would be
least we're
great.
both predicting wins.
Yes.
Um, Bart here says actually United cannot sign Brighton scouts on the direct football. Chelsea have already bought them from with Potter. Yeah, well
Then we,
the current ones.
yeah, yeah, the ones that they have now, we can talk to them, maybe. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if only we could make Brighton a feeder club or something, or yeah,
Oh,
because
yes.
but that's just not possible.
No,
They're an amazingly run club,
they
and
are.
they're a credit to themselves.
100%.
Bart says 2-0 to United as well. Bournemouth are safe and could already be on the beach. That is the hope from a United point of view. So, um, Danny just he says Juve from Stade Reims, incredible goalkeeper. His stats are insane. One of the best goalies in top 5 European leagues. Young French goalkeeper. Yeah, because of our budget, I don't think we're going to spend. We're not going to buy a 70 million euro goalkeeper. I think we're going to get creative in that market if we are indeed to bring in one. So I can see it. I can see our goalkeeping signing being someone we've never heard of, or someone only Danny and Bart have heard of. um, Dal says I have a problem tonight. 3-1 United. I say. Um, oh, Sofia, I have a problem tonight. Okay, no problem. Um,
Yeah, please.
o- okay. We will wrap it up there. Um, the link to Sofia's show is in the description. Sofia does previews, reviews, watch alongs, and she's doing another watch along this evening of Sevilla against Juve in the Europa League. So go ahead and check that out. If everyone could please smash a like on the video, get your comments in, and subscribe to the podcast. And thank you for coming on, Sophia or
Thanks
Sophia.
for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have you on again sometime, hopefully.
Yes, 100%. Hopefully. And I would love to have you on my channel as well. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Send me a message about that, and we'll get something
Yeah.
sorted.
Awesome.
All right, I'll see you later.
Yes. See you